Let's count down the top 5 most important non-conference games in the Big 12 Conference. I'm Pete Mundo. Thanks for joining us as always on the show. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. We appreciate you doing that. Podcast, YouTube, football is here. All right. So if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Now, with that, I will count it down from 5 to 1, the most important non-conference games for the Big 12 in the 2025 college football season. At number 5, I've got Texas Tech against Oregon State on Saturday, September 13th. Now, I know there's like a Pac-2, right? And you're thinking to yourself, wait, this is not all that compelling of a matchup. Here's why it matters. I feel like these early season non-conference sneaky games, Texas Tech always lays a massive egg in. And if you're Texas Tech and you're the Big 12, and the Big 12 needs Texas Tech to be good this year because of how much money they just spent in the transfer portal, they at least have to be competitive and they have to be in the Big 12 race come the end of the season, right? They just have to be. You can't end up in a situation where Texas Tech is losing to Oregon State on Saturday, September 13th, and then be like, yeah, no, but Tech's going to be in the mix for the Big 12 title. Can't have it. That's why it's an incredibly important game for the conference. Tech has struggled in games like this in the past. Tech needs a big showing in a non-conference game before Big 12 play starts. They can't afford to blow this one. And that's why this game is so critically important for the Big 12 conference. Now, I'm counting these down, but here's the other part that you've got to factor into all this. I'm not picking the most compelling matchups. I mean, there are some really good matchups on here, but some of you just heard Tech versus Oregon State, and you're like, wait, what? It's the games that mean the most to the Big 12 that will define the 2025 college football season for this conference. That's why I've got Tech and Oregon State at number 5. At number 4, Baylor at SMU, Saturday, September 6th. Likely to be Baylor unranked against SMU ranked. Right out of the gates, you have an SMU team that, of course, played for an in a college football playoff last year. You have a Baylor team that a lot of people are projecting to potentially win, if not play for a Big 12 title. I think they can do it. I've got them just on the outside. You know my Big 12 picks by now. If you haven't, it's another reason you've got to subscribe to the channel. I've got Tech versus Utah, but I have Baylor in that top 4. So for the Big 12 to make a statement against an ACC team, which is important right now, the Big 12 is viewed as that third of 4 Power 4 conferences, but SMU does play a couple of Big 12 teams here. And if you're Baylor, you can get a really good road win and prove yourself early in the season against a team that was in a college football playoff last season. And I know that what you did last year, more so than ever, should not define what you are this year in the crazy era of transfer portal college football programs that we live in. But still, it's what we've got to work with. SMU's getting love, and Baylor winning that game would be enormous for the Big 12 Conference. At number 3, for the most important non-conference games in the Big 12, I've got TCU at North Carolina, Labor Day, Monday, September 1st. This one's big time because this is going to be Bill Belichick's coaching debut at UNC. It is going to do a monster number in the ratings. It'll be the only game in town that night. Obviously, no NFL yet. Monday night, wrapping up the college football season. It's always a pretty good game on that Monday night of Labor Day. The TV networks, ESPN obviously, has done a good job finding an under-the-radar but also very compelling matchup for that Monday night Labor Day game. And this is perfect. Bill Belichick with his man boobs on the sideline is what America needs on Labor Day. Now it's TCU's job to go in there and make sure that what people are remembering from that game are not Belichick's man boobs. It's the fact that his Tar Heels got run over by the TCU Horned Frogs, led by Josh Hoover, who may put himself into the Heisman conversation early in the season. That's what we as Big 12 fans want to remember and want the nation to remember from that Monday night. Nothing about Belichick. outside of maybe a scowl or two. That's fine by me. But that's it. That's the extent of what I want people to remember from Bill Belichick on Labor Day night. So this TCU North Carolina matchup is enormous for the Big 12 because TCU can be a competitor atop the league. I think they'll be just on the outside looking in. I don't trust that defense yet. I want to, but I don't. And if they roll over UNC, another Big 12 ACC matchup, got to get those wins versus the ACC. And this is going to be a big game in front of a audience. Big 12 ACC put themselves back on the map after a couple of down years following that appearance in the national championship game. And I'll give you some honorable mentions after this. But at number one, for my most important game in the Big 12 non-conference schedule this year, Mississippi State and Arizona State. And you're thinking, wait, why Mississippi State? For exactly the reason you're thinking. But just think about it from a different perspective. Mississippi State was picked at the bottom of the SEC. Arizona State is a trendy pick to win the Big 12 Conference. Arizona State in the Big 12 Conference cannot afford to lose a game to a bottom feeder in the SEC. It would be a colossal disaster for the Big 12 if they lose this game to Mississippi State. You just can't do it. You can't afford it from a Big 12 SEC perspective. You cannot have one of your contenders. You cannot have the team that is coming off a college football playoff appearance. That's a trendy pick to get back to a college football playoff after winning the Big 12. That's ranked just outside the top 10 in the AP poll. That has a ton of mojo under one of the hottest head coaches in the country in Kenny Dillingham. You cannot afford a loss, especially at home, to a bottom feeder SEC team like Mississippi State. It just can't happen. The Big 12 can't afford this one. And maybe that's not your interpretation of what makes it the most important non-conference game, but to me, that's everything. You have to win this game that you will be a big favorite in against a conference that you're trying to close the gap with, against a team that is picked to finish the bottom of its league. Because if you were to lose that game, you know and I know what the SEC is doing. See, why do we even bother with these guys? Why do we even play the games? Just go right to a playoff, 1 through 16, put 16 teams from the SEC in there. Maybe you put in, 4 Big 10 teams and 12 SEC teams and just, call it a day. This is such a waste of time. I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. Some would go there. They would do it. And I want no part of it. And nobody in the Big 12 should want any part of that potential debacle of a conversation having to be had. So that's why I've got the Arizona State, Mississippi State game as the most important. So before I get to my honorable mentions, my top 5 most important games in the Big 12 and non-conference play for the 2025 season. Number 1, Arizona State, Mississippi State. Number 2, Baylor versus... Wait, did I skip over number 2? Oh, no, I skipped over number 2. I can't believe this. I went from 3 to 1. Shame on me. Oh. All right, well, let's do it right now. I gave you 3, TCU at North Carolina. I skipped the 1, which was Arizona State, Mississippi State. It happens. We're letting it rip live on the show. In between 1 and 3, the number 2 game in the Big 12 is Baylor versus Auburn, Friday, August 29th. All right, there you go. That's the number 2 game. I got so excited about 1, I skipped over 2. Shame on me. You guys are probably watching this saying, does Pete know how to count? Can he go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? I mean, I do work in media, so that's debatable. But brain fart there. Anyway, Baylor versus Auburn is number 2 on my list. Auburn's not projected to be a very good team in the SEC, but it's still a good program overall. And for Baylor, wanting to obviously compete atop the Big 12 and get the Big 12 a big Friday night showcased win over the SEC, that's the time to do it. So that's why I've got Baylor Auburn at number 2 on my list. So let's count it down. Top 5 most important non-conference games in the Big 12. Arizona State, Mississippi State at 1. Baylor v. Auburn at 2. TCU at North Carolina at 3. Baylor at SMU at 4. And Texas Tech v. Oregon State coming in at number 5 in our top 5 most important non-conference games in the Big 12 Conference in 2025. Now, the honorable mentions, the ones that just missed the cut. Georgia Tech at Colorado. My buddy Josh Pate has Georgia Tech winning the ACC. So if Colorado gets a win early in the season, that would be a big sign that there may not be a slump post-Travis Hunter and post-Shedeur Sanders for Colorado. SMU, TCU, I'm putting on that list as well. Similar to the Baylor SMU reasoning. ACC, Big 12, SMU in the playoff, the whole deal. And then also in the honorable mention ranking, I've got Kansas at Missouri. Missouri has a schedule that a lot of people believe will allow them to go 10-2. For Kansas, it could be a huge statement game early on that Jalen Daniels and Lance Leipold will have a bounce-back season. And if they can pull that off, the border war is a tremendous rivalry. It's going to be big time for the Big 12. And for those of you saying, what about games like the Backyard Brawl? It's a great rivalry, but I'm sorry, there's no juice outside of Pittsburgh and Morgantown because both teams are not projected to be any good. So that can't be one of the biggest non-conference games in the Big 12. I hope one day it gets there, but it just can't be right now. I'm Pete Mundo. We're Heartland College Sports. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, even though I can't count from 5 to 1. Glad you're here. Always appreciate you being a part of the show, and we will talk to you soon.